Denied.
So, to start off, yes, my last helmet was ineligible for the Galactic Armory Patreon contest. I went into that one knowing that I was stretching the rules really far as I could, so I really respect the decision to not allow it. But of course, I'm gonna make another one.
I do this shit for the love of the game.
Just like before, I'm going to be using the Sallet Helmet. These files are available on the Galactic Armory Patreon. Really, all I did here was I scavenged some pieces from my prior helmet and I stuck them right into the base model, and I wanted to keep it as close as I could to the base without changing it too much to make sure this one could be entered. At first, I wanted to just rush through and get another helmet in, so as you can see, I didn't plan on recording any of this. It is already assembled. I printed it in 4 pieces on my Neptune 4. As I was messing around with the helmet, I actually remembered this little skull mask I got a couple years ago, just in case I ever wanted to use it in one of my builds, and it actually fits perfectly on this helmet, so I'm going to add that into my design. I started off sanding with a 220 grit sandpaper on my electric sander for a first pass. Then I went in with Bondo, glazing, and spot putty to fix up those seam lines that were left behind. Once the Bondo dried, I went in with a 220 grit sponge as well as normal sandpaper to really smooth out those seams. With the initial sanding done, it was time for a true classic, the Bondo and acetone mixture. This is a thinned out Bondo that I can brush on and fill in all those little layer lines that I might have missed. Next up was Rust-Oleum 2-in-1 filler primer. I'm spraying this on before doing any more sanding. I'm going to sand down the filler primer and the Bondo together to get to a nice smooth surface. The helmet got 2 coats of filler primer to make sure that I had a nice surface to start sanding down. Now I could go ahead and start wet sanding this with a 400 grit sandpaper. And finally, one more coat of filler primer would lock all of that in. With everything smoothed out, it was time to apply my rust texture. To make this, all I had to use was some sand and some acrylic modeling paste. I added more and more sand and mixed it up until I was happy with the consistency. I went for something a little bit thicker than my last helmet, just to make sure that it showed up a little better on camera, and went ahead and applied that. To actually put this on the helmet, I used a palette knife and just spread it out in the different spots that I wanted it, and then I would use a paintbrush to feather out the edges. After 24 hours to dry, I had a nice texture to work with for the painting. For the painting, I started with a base coat of Krylon Matte Black. I also quickly hit the skull mask with a base coat of filler primer. Now it was airbrush time. I started by hitting all of the rust areas with a dark brown. After that, I highlighted those rust spots with some crimson red. As I painted the red on, I ran into one small problem.
Is this how you face me, coward?
So after the rain stopped, I went ahead and hit those spots with orange. Now I could go ahead and get my base colors on the skull, starting with dark brown. Following the dark brown, I used light tan to pick out the highlights. Finally, I used some black to bring back some of the low spots that might have gotten taken out. The last thing the actual helmet needed now was dry brushing of a bright orange on those rust spots, so I mixed that up and I got to work. For the skull, I mixed up a few different shades of tan and blended them all over the mask. At this stage, I went ahead and attached the jaw to the main helmet. Story-wise, my idea is that this is a random skull that was found and attached to this helmet, so I wanted to add some nastiness into it. So I watered down some apple barrel black paint, and I let some drip down out of the mouth. So this helmet was just about done, it just needed a few finishing touches to bring it to the end. First up were these side spikes that I added. I needed something to add a little bit of width to the helmet. It looked a little too skinny to me. So I rusted these, painted these up, and then I attached them to the helmet with Gorilla Glue and E6000. I gave everything a matte clear coat to protect the paint job before the last step. I had the idea that I wanted to put some barbed wire kind of wrapped around this guy, so I ordered some off of Amazon. It was pre-rusted, pre-painted, and I wanted this to look really brutal, so I ran some of the strands through the eye holes and near the mouth, and it came out looking really nice. And with that, that's contest helmet number 2 ready to go. Thank you for watching. I really can't thank you guys enough for all of the support. These last 2 videos I put up have went above and beyond all of my expectations. So I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. If you have any ideas for more builds, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.